Welcome back everyone to the channel. Today we're playing Sins of a Prophet, a mod for Sins of a Solar Empire, and today we're looking at the UNSC and their unique units and playstyle for this game. Rather than doing a mini-series like I had with previous mods, I'm planning to just do an in-depth look at both the factions and how they play out against each other. So looking at the UNSC today, we can get some Phoenix class assault ships, very much like the Spirit of Fire. Over here we've got some Oni sloops, Oni prowlers, and there are scouts. I apologise if I may be coughing more today than usual. I've just had a big old fat slice of chocolate cake, so that explains that. So what else have we got? We've got some
class refit complete.
Colony ships here, some Stalwart class frigates, Charon class frigates, Geneva class envoy ship, Hephaestus, I can't pronounce that. It's a constructor for Cradle class repair ship. Let's have a look at our combat ships. Paris class cruisers, let's get a couple of those. Thanatos class destroyers, the Halcyon class cruiser, and the Athens carrier. And our capital ships, we have of course the Phoenix class assault ship, which is remarkably similar to the Spirit of Fire. The Valiant class heavy cruiser.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
The same ship that Admiral Cole commanded during the Battle of Reach. The Orion battle cruiser, the Marathon, the Autumn, and the Thermopylae supercarrier. So let's have a closer look at our... This is our Spirit of Fire
exploration teams have discovered a new
mock-up. You can see the heavy turrets there, which is nice to see. And let's have a look at our Paris class frigates, the workhorse of the UNSC fleet. Model textures for these ships just look absolutely beautiful. You can see all the missile pods there, and the 50mm flat cannons, I believe, if I'm right. Well, we've got a fleet.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Let's get some interceptors. We're facing the Covenant, and they're going to have lots of Space Banshees and possibly Seraphs. And let's go with Colonize for this ship.
Like the view.
And Thermonuclear Warhead, I believe a Shiva it's called.
I'll clear it with Admiral Cole.
So we'll go ahead,
teams have discovered a new colonizable planet.
Create a fleet and attack
Get us underway in
this planet. We'll skip ahead because there's a lot to show you guys, and I don't want this video to take too long. Okay, so here's my first chance to show you a little bit of combat now. We're attacking the Roost system.
Prep for pod launch.
Enemy Charon class frigate in system. Slightly smaller than a Paris. This one is of course capable of planetary bombardment, but it's significantly weaker. And let's see how Mach and missile gameplay works out for the UNSC. You can see a very swift victory for the UNSC fleet there.
Orbital structure complete.
Now Mach rounds in this game work a lot like they do in Halo lore. It's a very large burst, one-shot kill kind of thing. It's essentially a giant gun in space, which means there's a very large recharge time. Let's just colonize this. Very large recharge time between Mach shots. And the Mach was the most effective weapon the UNSC had against the Covenant at the time. Which means that the UNSC tended to only take out Covenant ships in the first salvo. The Covenant ships, of course, had large plasma beam weapons and plasma torpedoes that could be fired a lot faster and a lot more rapid succession than the UNSC MAC cannons, which means that by the time the UNSC had reloaded
colony has been founded
and prepared for their second salvo,
Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to send them over here,
Coordinates received.
take this asteroid. The Covenant had already taken out a large number of the UNSC ships, of course not having shields, relying on armour and structural integrity alone. That wasn't exactly a hard thing to do. Let's see if we can zoom in on the longsword fighters here. That looks a bit weird.
Research order complete.
But the longsword fighters, they do look very, very law friendly, of course. Very well done textures and models there. So, the way this game plays out, UNSC versus Covenant, the UNSC will do a tremendous amount of damage in their first salvo, but the Covenant will be able to keep doing damage all the way through, up until the second salvo and the third. And every time you take out the UNSC ships, you're lessening the firepower you're able to put to use against the next wave of ships. So that's sort of how it balances out with combat. Here's one of the R&D labs over here. Another one of different kind over here. Looks the same, basically. Very similar to the Anchor 9 station from Halo Reach. Little constructor pod here. Very nicely modelled.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
There's a nice unique thing here. If I can show you it. Yeah, there we are. You just saw it there. Slipspace portals have replaced the
I see we've made a few upgrades.
the typical phase space charge up. So how the economy balances out in this game is the UNSC ships are significantly cheaper to produce.
Situation update, please.
Well, they just pop that ship straight away. No chance. We should really build up some industry on this world as well. Build up our population, and this is... I'm going to specialise this world in industry eventually. Get all our mines up and running. Covenant ships, of course, will cost a lot more,
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
but they're very worth it. Their shields recharge, of course, unlike
A new
health
colony
pools,
has been founded.
which makes them a much more surefire investment.
Like the view?
A lot of crystal here, we'll take that planet.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
I'll show you the tech tree before I skip ahead to another little showcase of the UNSC's units and abilities. So, there's a lot of mining upgrades here for the UNSC, although the Covenant get that as well. Same with a lot of trade. More colonization specialities. I like the little custom thumbnails they've got for the research options there.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
But it's a pretty bog standard tech tree. Same for the defensive. And it becomes a little bit different here when you move into the offensive ops. You can see the different ships we can research here in the ship line, leading up to the Thermopylae.
Research order complete.
But we've also got AI research. And AI research will vastly improve the abilities of your ships. Mostly the Thermopylae, which is a large fleet support super capital. But you'll start to see upgrades like this: sophisticated AI, in-system phase jump speed, bombing damage increase, hull repair rate, armor-piercing
Orbital
slugs,
structure complete.
rate of damage and rate of fire.
Slipspace jump.
And that sort of upgrade on a Mac round is really going to increase your performance in this game. Something I do recommend looking to researching pretty soon. There are, of course, lots of custom relics to be found. I'll try and find a couple of them to show you later on.
We've made a few upgrades.
There's a lot more ships in this system.
And weapons online.
I just absolutely love how the missiles spread in this game. As you can see here, the missiles aren't really doing a lot of damage. Same with the heavy turrets and defense rounds. We just lost a ship there. No sign of the Covenant as of yet.
Structure complete.
One more ship to eliminate. Oh, there's another one over there. Alright, we're going to skip ahead
Research
now.
order complete.
And I'll be able to show you something more interesting in just a second.
Structure complete.
Okay, here's something interesting I can show you. Some planets will have
Orbital structure.
Forerunner structures or Forerunner enemy ships guarding them. These sentinels can be tricky in large numbers, or they are relatively easy to take out. They're also rather fast, so it makes it difficult to use weapons like missiles. You can also get super heavy combat sentinels, which are best avoided at the best of times. But usually these planets are worth taking. If you can take these, there's always some kind of reward. This Forerunner deuterium mine here will provide us a
Orbital structure
boost to resources. I believe it's even possible to find a actual halo in some of
We've
the
made a few upgrades.
maps the author has added to the selection. Although I haven't encountered one as of yet.
Research order complete.
Alright, so I have another thing here to show you. This is the Marathon class cruiser in the game, with two others that have inappropriately arrived all at the same time. I was building another fleet here to
Ahead, sir.
push off in a different direction. Let's
Get us underway.
combine them together. So if we sort of take another look here, you'll see it's very similar to the Autumn. It's a bit more bulky. It's in fact almost a third scale larger than the Pillar of Autumn. This is the mainstay of the UNSC's battleship
Research order
fleet.
complete.
And of
Orbital
course get the
structure complete.
thermonuclear Shiva torpedo, or the Hyperion
Crews are reporting for duty.
nuclear warhead.
Ready for orders.
So we're going to push off in this direction,
Get us underway.
taking the planets
Research
along
order
here.
complete.
Now, another thing, the way the UNSC economy works in terms of units is its capital ships. Now, when you research your officer training, instead of unlocking the ability to build and purchase another capital ship, you unlock the ability to build and purchase multiple capital ships. So it'll go up by 7, 11, 15, 20, 25, 30, 36, and at the end of all this, you'll be able to host 42 capital ships if you ever manage to build that much. Of course, this is going to drain your resources immensely. And the same goes for supply lines. Capital ships are also considerably cheaper to build over Covenant ones. Covenant capital ships are modelled very similar to the vanilla game in terms of economy. It will cost you 3,000-ish to build your bog standard one. As you can see here though,
Slip space jump on my mark.
the first major researched capital ship, the Marathon class cruiser,
On my mark.
only costs 18 credits and a bare minimum of resources. We go to the Thermopylae here. The Thermopylae is more like the kind of expensive ship. This is the most expensive ship in the UNSC. 5,000 credits, 1,500 titanium, and 900 deuterium. And still, I mean, this is your high-end ship. This is like your Titan. Of course, this game doesn't have Titans yet. I'm not
Research
sure if
order
the
complete.
developer plans to implement them. But it's almost, if my
Research
memory
order
serves me
complete.
correct, 3 to 4 times cheaper than a
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Covenant supercarrier. So you've got the Marathon class cruisers here in system.
Bring me up to speed.
We need to
Fire on my mark.
take out the Paris class ships. And the fleet does look absolutely magnificent. And the great thing about the UNSC's economy being so cheap is that if you lose one of your big capital ships, it's not such a huge loss.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere.
It really doesn't take much to build and purchase another one. They don't take long to build. And you can have them back in the field, ready to assault the enemy.
Ready for orders.
Shame I wasn't able to capture the Hyperion nuclear warhead in action, but I'll be sure to try and show you that in the next skip ahead. I've got another little tidbit here to show you. These are some Stalwart class frigates. Now these were a recent addition to the mod in the last update, although that was quite a while ago. These are the flak defense ships, and I don't think they're as pretty as the previous ship. It was occupying the Mako Corvette, which was completely flak. It didn't have any kind of MAC defense whatsoever, and these ships do, but I still preferred the Mako simply for the way it looked. I've also built, or going to build, where's the one that are currently being building over here? Yes, the
Orbital structure.
orbital defense MAC platforms. And you can see here, these MAC platforms do a massive amount of damage, 4,800. It's enough to kill a ship in one hit, just like in the games. However, these things have an even longer reload than the ships in your fleet. So they are literally a one-hit, one-kill weapon. They are glass cannon. You'll be lucky if you even manage to get 2 shots of these off before they're destroyed by the enemy. If you're playing against another person, they'll definitely know to go for these structures first. The AI, however, isn't as smart as people. There's no danger of the machines taking over our lives just yet. So we should be safe for now.
Like the view? Get us underway immediately. I'll clear it with Admiral Cole.
We're advancing our territory. Gameplay for the UNSC is rather slow compared to the Covenant. The UNSC ships, as you can see here on the arena scale, they really do move quite slowly. So there is that. We need to get a colony ship out to there. Yeah, the Phoenix class colony ship looks...
Order complete.
I've got one over here. It looks exactly like the... Spirit of Fire. It's just covered in less guns and less decals,
Orbital structure complete.
which is fine by me.
Humanity's future lies in the heavens.
Nice little voiceover there. Alright, we'll be skipping ahead again. Now here's a unique ship you'll probably never see again, the Eon class carrier. This model no longer exists for you to buy and use. It was a light carrier unit, and I think it's quite unique. You only ever really see these now as NPCs and ships that guard unclaimed systems. They're relatively weak, easy to kill, and they can only field a small number of fighters, but they look really pretty. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now here's something deadly we have found that we're going to have to get out of really, really quick. We've found the flood-infested planet.
Orbital structure complete.
See the flood spore pods there? And you can already see I've lost some ships. They've infested my ships and I'm currently in the process of taking them over. You've also got some Forerunner vessels here, the infected Guardians. These things do an incredible amount of damage. And I really don't want my ships in this system.
Ship's hull is critical.
I've basically just lost almost all of them there. That was a really bad thing. The Flood replaced the pirates in this game. The pirates no longer take bribes, obviously. They're the Flood. So, I will show you the Flood at at a later date. Because the way the Flood works in this, in place of the pirates, is a sort of horde mode, almost like firefight for Sins of a Solar Empire. And essentially the Flood are merciless. They'll attack everyone. You saw what they did to my fleet there. They're even just as effective against the Covenant. And they'll come at you in increasingly more dangerous waves, and they'll keep coming at you with your own ships that you've lost to their Flood spores. So it becomes a fight for survival. The Flood truly are the most dangerous threat in all the playing fields of this galaxy. So look at that. They took all my ships. I have one badly damaged Marathon class ship left and a Paris class frigate. That is just absolutely abysmal. That is mortal, that. And I've started to construct some more ships that I'll be able to show you.
Where do we stand?
There's a trade station there. But we've also got some Halcyon class ships, the same class as the Pillar of Autumn. Of course, this is nothing like the Pillar of Autumn. They get their own ship class, which I'll be able to show you soon. And of course, the major thing about these is they have a buttload of health. That's the only good thing about these ships. Halcyon class cruisers are weak as your standard frigates, cost a little bit more, and have a butt ton of health. They are the meat shields of your fleet. Here, however, the Thanatos class destroyers, the same ship as the Heart of Bethaldrin, I believe that's what it's called, from the Halo webcomic series. I'm not sure if it's still on Halo Waypoint or not. I remember seeing it when I was... oh God, it was a few years ago. Back when I actually still gave a shit about Halo games made by Bungie in 343. And now, of course, I don't care. They're all crap. But these are the cheapest of your... the upper level of your spam ships. These are the ships you're going to spam a lot. They do a lot of damage for a relatively cheap ship of a fair amount of health. They're the replacement for your Paris class frigates. And here we have our first engagement with the Covenant. You can see the nuclear missile we launched. This is the first major capital ship the Covenant get. It's a carrier. You can see the shields there. And I will go into more detail in the Covenant's own video. Suffice to say, they've started to attack. We've got some Space Banshees here. It's nice to give you a proper little look at the models. Some Seraph bombers. And as you can see, we're just bleeding health, and we're only actually doing any substantial damage to the capital ship. There's plasma torpedoes coming in. We're lucky to survive that. And we were able to get off one more Mac blast before we lost. However, they've got some battleships in system. This is not good. We're really going to have to start.
Orbital structure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
I really should have turned this planet into a shipyard. I didn't. I regret that now.
Research order complete.
So we're going to have to get some more marathons in system.
Insufficient titanium alloy.
Drat. Spent that on upgrading my Mac weapons.
Cannot afford your request at the moment.
Ah, screw it. We don't need capital ships. We'll just burn through a load of marathons. I mean, a load of Thanatos class. Could go for some Halcyons, but yeah, we'll do a mix.
UNSC cannot afford your request at the moment. UNSC cannot afford your request at the moment. UNSC cannot afford your request at the moment.
Don't tell me what I can and I cannot afford. I am made of money.
Destroyer ready for duty.
Let's hope that'll be enough to stop the Covenant from advancing any further than this planet. Methane planets are one of the new environments that have been added to this game.
Ready for duty.
They're unique in the fact that the Covenant will get a huge boost for colonizing these planets in terms of population. Of course, the grunts or
I
the...
see we've made a few upgrades.
Ungoi, depending on
Planet-side infrastructure.
what you want to call them.
Autopilot engaged.
Breed like rabbits, so there's a huge bonus to resources there. Alright, we're going to do another skip ahead. See if we can get to some more interesting action. Okay, so I have some more to show you. Here we have some more enemy ships in system. I'm going to have to try and take out quick. You may recognize this ship from Halo Wars. At least, they seem to be retreating.
I'll clear it with Admiral Cole.
I suppose we should lead by example.
And I also have a couple other ships I've managed to build to show you. I have the largest ship here in the UNSC. And it's not a combat ship. This is the Cradle class
Super
repair
Heavy
ship.
Cruiser, up and running.
And isn't she massive?
This war has enough dead heroes.
It is far larger than any space station. It
Orbital
needs
structure.
enough space in it here to fit at least a marathon class, if not bigger. I also have... Where is it?
Executive General Order
The
098831
Valiant
Alpha
class
Dash 1.
heavy cruiser. Just look at that. Sorry, super heavy cruiser. This thing is
Valiant
absolutely...
class, Super Heavy Cruiser, up and running.
We heard it from the man himself. The capital ship of Admiral Whitecomb. And the most modern ship in the UNSC's fleet. Weapon cooldown 20%. I think we're going to get that ability. That's going to be helpful. We've done a lot of resource. We're about to unlock the Autumn class cruiser.
098831 Alpha Dash 1.
And with a little bit of creative spending, we should have enough to research the Thermopylae class design after we finish the Orion class. We haven't really invested anything into AI research as of yet, but we've got the Covenant sort of surrounded. We know they're over here somewhere. I've got the
Orbital
planets
structure complete.
under my control.
What does the UNSC need of us?
Down here we should research... Where is it? Greenhouse exploration.
All passengers, please return to your cryo chamber.
Alright, time for another skip ahead. Now we've got just a few more ships to show you before we actually go on the offensive and take the fight directly to the Covenant. I'm still waiting on enough resources to build the
What do you know of war?
Thermopylae class super carrier, but I have a few more ships down here somewhere I can show you. Where are they?
What do you
Here we are, the Orion class battle cruiser. This was designed to be a Covenant ship killer. It pretty much mounts a supermac in the superstructure, the
Orbital
Covey
structure
killer.
complete.
10,000 damage, cooldown time of 50 seconds, and a relatively cheap antimatter cost of 100. So you get 2 shots of this, which I've put on manual instead of auto fire because I want to save it for those really big Covenant ships I'm eventually going to come across. And here we have the first proper Autumn class cruiser. You can see it's almost a direct copy of the design from Halo Reach and Halo Combat Evolved HD.
Alcyon here.
And it gets Spartan boarding parties as its major offensive ability. That, and it also has the second largest health pool. Sorry, I believe... Let me check something. I believe it's the third largest health pool because the Thermopylae gets the largest. But I'm not sure if the Cradle... Big Cradle ship... 25,000. And the Autumn gets... 22,000. Yes, it's the ship with the third largest health pool. Let's see.
Orbital
We
structure
might.
complete.
I'm gonna build the Thermopylae. I'm gonna build it with main fleet, of course. I need to research more. Yeah. So we are going to group these ships together in a fleet
Orion cruiser en route.
and take the fight here. Now, I just heard that, I'm not quite sure, I may have mispronounced the way you say the cruiser. It might be Orion, but I'm going to stick with Orion. I believe Orion sounds a lot more impressive. Oh yeah, there's another ship in here I built that I haven't shown you. Where is it hiding? It's hiding somewhere amongst all my ships. Where is it? Ah, here we are. It's quite a large ship. Here's the Athens class carrier I've previously mentioned. It has quite a lot of self-defense armament, a lot of Mac rounds for attack.
Checking in.
And it's a shame that it can only... It's this... Look at the size of this ship compared to the Valiant Heavy Cruiser. It is absolutely massive. It is as big as a Phoenix class colony ship or the Spirit of Fire. And that thing can launch planetary invasions single-handedly, and this thing can only field 3 squads of fighters. I feel cheated. I want my money back. This thing is going to be the first thing to die in my books. It's a very ugly ship as well. I mean, compared to the Valiant, which is just absolutely gorgeous, and the Orion, look at that. It's just beautiful. Or the Autumn. Well, look at this. This is the Autumn, the proper Autumn class, the Autumn class refit. Let's compare it to... Sorry if it's making you a little bit disorientated. There's the standard Halcyon class, and you can see that this one more closer resembles the original Pillar of Autumn from Halo Combat Evolved.
General order 098831 Alpha-1.
See all the slipspace portals there?
In Orion.
And we're ready to begin our attack.
Research order complete.
We can build the Thermopylae, and if we get enough resources, we can build 2 of these big boys. Yeah, let's build 2. Because you can never have enough boom.
The Covenant they learned to fear my name.
I'm sure they will,
Flip space
scary
check.
Russian lady. And as you can see, they've colonized this planet.
Orion cruiser en route. Orion cruiser en route.
Can we not start bombing it already?
You told me to fight, and that's what I've done. Clearance level confirmed. How may we be of assistance?
Oh yes, unlike the Covenant capital ships, which all have the ability to bomb planets,
You better bring backup.
the
It's time for some executive action.
the UNSC doesn't have that ability with all its capital ships. Only the Phoenix class assault ships and the...
Super carrier reporting for duty.
I'll be able to show that in a second. And the Charon class frigates
UNSC
have the
cannot
ability
afford your request at the moment. UNSC
to
cannot
actually
afford your request at the moment.
invade planets.
The situation must be grave. Catch you on the flip side.
So we can get ODST drop pods.
Get ready for active duty.
Fleet Command is a very, very helpful ability. As you can see, it boosts all the
Ready for active duty.
different stats of the ships around. And this is where late game research into AI development really becomes
active duty.
a vital line of research to take. A very expensive line of research to take as well, because AIs don't come cheap, as we all know. I'm pretty sure
Super carrier reporting for duty.
there hasn't been a single piece of science fiction in which AIs were cheap. Oh, Star Wars. But I honestly don't believe droids can be considered AIs. They're at best closer to VIs. Those things from Mass Effect. Look at the engines on this thing. It's a big space brick. I believe there was only ever one of these actually built in Halo lore. This ship is bigger than the Infinity.
I'll be in my private quarters.
And I can't exactly remember who commanded it.
What do you need of me?
It wasn't Admiral Cole, because I believe he was dead or missing by the time
out of my way.
By the time that happened,
I see we've made a few upgrades.
see, I'm a little bit worried now. The Covenant know I'm on this planet and I'm basically blockading it, so they know where my main fleet is.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
I'm gonna
I'll clear it with Admiral Cole.
move my smaller fleet in position over here. And I'm gonna start reinforcing them as well, just in case. Let's get just
UNSC cannot afford your request at the moment.
buttload of those ships. We haven't even.
Report to cryo chambers.
We're all slow on resources. We haven't even attempted to bolster Miridim. Cradle's a very, very slow ship, but it does provide very good
Research
mobile
order
resources. We have a frigate factory in
Situation
system,
update, please. Battle stations. Bring weapons online.
and you're going to be able to see the assault ships and the Chowan class in action. I'm going to tell my.
Reporting.
I'm going to grab my Halcyons and my Thanatos. Where are my Paris class as well? I'm going to tell them to go and take out this
ready to kill.
this frigate factory
Destroyer doing job.
and then this trade
What's
port.
our mission?
There are no heroes in this war. Get out of my way.
He's very rude. Alright, I should be able to show you what it looks like when the UNSC decides to attack a planet. It's very unique and I think it's a very nice
Got
touch
you on the flip side.
this game presents
Destroyer
in compared
ready
to
for
the vanilla game or any of the other mods. I'm not sure if you saw that, but if you look closely,
Orbital structure complete.
see if I can get in the firing lines. They're launching Pelicans. So they're all launching Pelicans to fight on the surface and retake this planet for the glory of the UNSC. Which is just fantastic. Yeah, the Covenant don't have fully fleshed out models and textures for their buildings yet. Their ships, however, are looking fine, and the mods,
ready for duty.
if my reckoning be true, is looking closer and closer to update the more time
Private quarters.
Brace for impact.
goes on.
Flip space jump.
The Thermopylae also, of course, are able to bombard planets and capture. I'm not sure if this is a. I think this is a custom texture or appearance for a volcanic planet. I'm sure because I've never seen one look that pretty before. They even have Earth in this game as well, and all the appropriate planets like Reach and Harvest, depending on which map you pick to play this game on.
Destroyer ready for duty.
So we're going to do our usual again, and we're going to skip ahead one more time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is our last stop, our last skip ahead. And as you can see here, we've encountered the main Covenant fleet.
Structure complete. A new colony has been founded.
You can see the large... I can't remember what that class was. That was originally the carrier that this texture model replaced.
Orbital structure complete.
And while you think this may look like High Charity, it's not. It's just a placeholder unit so far. Although it may be reused in some capacity, it's the Starbase. Our Thermopylae's taken a huge amount of damage. And we've absolutely decimated the
All hands, battle station.
Covenant
Side infrastructure
fleet.
complete.
We're going to focus all our fire now on the space station. Oh, oops. Look at all that firepower. And as you can see, there's actually quite a lot of particles and missiles that are disappearing before they even reach the target. That's because there's so much effects currently being projected that the game's engine can't handle it. Now, there is a way to solve this issue and increase your game's performance so it can render many more projectiles on screen. This, however, can be a little bit treacherous. If you're not running this game on a fairly powerful PC, it can cause damage and decrease the performance of your game. And also, if you're not running... what was I going to say? Well, anyway, there is a way to do it, and I may cover that in another video. There's a few other things I'd like to show just before I end it here, and that'll conclude our coverage of the UNSC. This is the anchor station, and it has a lot of upgrades. If I go weapon upgrades, you'll start to notice more turrets, and eventually this station will be supplied with miniature MAC cannons. It also gets a construction yard that can attach to the side, so it's a nice little thing to see. There was one other thing. Ah yes, this is the last ship I didn't get a chance to show you because there's not really much use for it. It's the Envoy ship, and it's a completely original design. It has no weapons whatsoever, so I don't know why it would have missile pods.
Coordinates confirmed.
It's an ugly ship with very small engines.
I'm, working on my Sanghaley. Geese may be our only chance for survival. Centurions have no sense of humor. Brutes have the worst breath ever.
And he's not very diplomatic about what he says.
Centurions have no sense of humor.
Some of the things he says are fairly funny. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the in-depth look into the UNSC's playstyle, tactics, units, and features. Stay tuned for the Covenant coverage video. I may be uploading that tomorrow. And have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.